here are some easy early game pals for you guys to collect to progress in the world of Palworld. So here we are in the pal box where we are going to go over the pals you guys should collect. There are 13 pals that I think that would be really good for your base early game, and don't worry, I'll show you where you guys can find them by showing you them on the map. Now let's start off with Cadaver. Cadaver is such an amazing pal that you can get literally in the first 5 minutes of the game. Obviously, this pal has got very bad passive stats. That is my fault. Passive stats can change. You can get very good stats, very bad stats. It's just luck based. But the reason why Cadaver is very good is because they have the handiwork ability, so they can help you craft items manually, or they can help you speed up crafting items. Transporting to move items from boxes to boxes. Mining, which is very good if you guys want rocks in the early game, because rocks, you're going to need a lot of rocks in the early game. And they also have gathering, so they can gather up mushrooms for you guys, or they can gather up just some sort of type of berry bush. Very strong early game creature. Don't let the looks deceive you, because this is a very amazing pal. And here is where you can find Cadaver on the map. This is going to be the exact same for daytime and nighttime. Over here is where you originally spawn, and there is an abundance of them pretty much all throughout the world. So you're going to have a very easy time finding these guys, and I'll definitely recommend you go ahead and catch them. And next up is Tansy. Now these guys are just super amazing because they have a bunch of working stats. They are slightly out of range from the early game, but definitely recommend these guys nonetheless. They have the planting ability to plant some red berry bushes for you guys if you have a plot, or wheat if you have that plot as well. Handiwork once again to help you craft more. Lumbering, so they can manually go ahead and chop wood for you, which is going to be very helpful for you guys in the early game, as well as the gathering and transporting as well. A very great all-round pal. Now as you can see on the map, Tansy is slightly further away from spawn point, as once again you would spawn over here, and he is just a slight walk down this little jungle area over here, or anywhere over on the map. Once again, I would definitely recommend catching this guy. Super easy to get. Now if you guys don't really want to go for Tansy, you can go for Liftmonk. Liftmonk is slightly more difficult to get, as they like to run away from you no matter what, and the only difference is that you will get the medicine production instead of the transporting that the Tansy would get. So these guys are roughly the exact same, but medicine and transporting have just been switched out. And if you guys like to find out where these guys are, it's pretty much just like Tansy. Spawn is just over here, and they're slightly further down than spawn, and the rest of the map, they're pretty much everywhere in an abundant amount. It's pretty much a very good all-round pal for you guys is going to be Depresso. Depresso has the handiwork ability to make you craft more, as well as the mining ability, as this makes you collect rocks and some ores, which is going to be very helpful in the early and mid game. And now as you can see here, the map is now outlined as blue. That is because we are in the nighttime setting. Depresso only spawns at nighttime, and they spawn pretty much everywhere across the entire map. Now these next set of creatures are all going to be spawning pretty much all together, so the second you jump out of that spawn door, you're going to find these guys in an abundance. So first up we have Lamball, purely because if you chuck Lamball in a ranch, they will give you wool, and wool is something that you need for cloth, and cloth is what you're going to need for other items. So having these guys early, chucking them in a ranch and getting that wool and stacking up on wool quickly is going to be very helpful for you guys. But if you're not using them for wool, they're also good with handiwork and transporting your items around. Kremis is the exact same as Lamball, but this time instead of them having the transporting and handiwork, they are going to have just the gathering, but they're still going to have the exact same effect. If you chuck these guys in a ranch, you're going to get wool, and you turn wool into silk, which will help you in the later game. Now one pal I wish I captured a lot sooner than I should have was actually Chickpea, because these guys, if you chuck them in a ranch, actually lay eggs, and eggs are going to mean so much to you in the late game, especially when you want to make cakes, because cakes are going to require eggs and a lot of expensive resources, and you need cakes to breed creatures. So having and stocking up eggs as much as you can in the early game is definitely going to help you later in the mid game to late game. Now my very first pal I ever captured in this game was Foxparks. I dearly love this creature so much, only because this is my very first pal that I ever caught, and these guys have the kindling, so they're going to help you speed up your cooking times, or just manually cook stuff for you in general. Now we do know that when you cook stuff, it's going to slowly cook automatically, as it would realistically do, but Foxparks helps you out so much, especially if you want to cook up some eggs or some cooked berries for you guys, and you're going to need these to feed your pals, otherwise they're going to lose out insanity, go insane, and not work for you. Foxparks is slightly difficult to catch, as they like to be in groups, but if you kill one of them and then you capture the other one, it should be pretty easy for you guys. Now a really amazing all-rounder water pal is going to be Pangullet, because these guys have the watering effect, so they can water the plants for you without you doing it manually. They also help you craft things up, and they also transport you stuff around to different boxes. They also have the cooling effect, so if you guys have the refrigerator, they will go ahead and cool the refrigerator down so it has a less spoil time for your foods. But also in the later game, If you see here, you're going to get Pangolot's rocket. I had this unlocked, but I'm not going to craft this because I do not want to use this rocket launcher to obliterate any of my enemies because I don't think that is humane, but here I am with a gun in my hands. Now, a very close competitor to Pangolot is Thwack. Now, Thwack does pretty much the exact same thing as Pangolot, this time does not have the cooling effect. Now, these final powers are going to be slightly later into the early game, but these guys are going to do so much more than the other powers that I've just stated, such as Flamebell, as these it does exactly what Foxparks does. It does the kindling effect, but so much more. They also have the handiwork to help you craft more, the transport to make you transport more items more, and farming. And now when you chuck these guys in the ranch, they will give you some flame organs. You usually get flame organs when you kill any creature that has the fire type, but Flamebell will automatically, if you chuck them in a ranch of course, produce flame organs for you guys, and having flame organs is a must in the early game as you're going to need this to make some cookery items for later on. Now their habitat is not going to be anywhere near the early game spawn point, but if you guys find any flame eggs around the world, make sure to pick them up because there's a high chance you might get Flamebell inside of them. And here is the map for Flamebells. As you can see, I have not gone anywhere across these maps. I haven't even discovered half the areas that she spawns in, and I have got her about 4 or 5 times just purely because of me collecting eggs and incubating them and hatching Flamebell. Now, Dinosaur is going to be a extremely useful pal for you guys in the early game, but there is a big downside. They are going to be slightly hard to catch as they are going to be roughly a level 11, I think they are when they spawn, and they're going to have level 2 planting and lumbering. So these guys are going to be very proficient in planting plants for you guys like berries and wheat seeds, but also they're going to be very good for cutting wood down for you guys. And here we are on the map where they spawn, and Dinosaur spawns pretty much at the spawn location, but once again they're going to be slightly higher level, so be careful because they might deal a pack and a punch to you, but if once again you capture them, it's going to make your life so much easier. Now next up we have Ixthridia, I think that's how you call it. It's going to be slightly worse than Dinosaur because they do not have the level 2 planting, but they have the level 2 lumbering. So if you do not want to waste time going for Dinosaur, you can go for Ixthridia, as these guys are strictly lumbering, and lumbering wood is going to be very useful for you guys to make bases and other things in the early game. And here is the spawn for these guys. Once again, we spawn over here if you choose to spawn at the main spawn location, and they are pretty much in abundant everywhere over the entire map. Pretty much. Once again, they're going to be slightly easier than Dinosaur to catch, but they're still going to be hard to catch as they do pack a punch. And that is going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to drop a like and a subscribe would be really appreciated. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.